Asia. How did your parents come up with your name?
Well, that's interesting to me because my mother always said, well, her name was Nancy. She looked in the back of the dictionary, and Lanayville was a town close to Nancy. That's how it was advertised. But she gave it to her older daughter. So when I came along, she gave Lene, which I liked, to her older daughter. And the sister of the nuns called me Lanayville. So I spent being a naval most of my life, at least with the nuns when I was growing up.
Oh, then how did they come up with Asia?
Well, that was what my dad called me. When he was 13 years old, he loved telling a story of how he lived in Council Bluffs, Iowa, which was in the middle of nowhere. And they had near neighbors moving in only 5 miles away. So he cut across the breeding bulls pasture. He said, I ran as swift as I could to see if they had a boy I could play with. At 13, you wanted the kids your age. He said, they had only a girl, a tomboy named Europa. She could outspit, outclimb, outrun, and outlie me. But I knew at 12 my oldest daughter was going to be called Asia. Now, I didn't come along till he was 50.
Oh.
So that was just I was destined to be a writer.
Yes.
Totally destined to be a writer.
What comes to mind when you think about growing up?
About growing up, I haven't. I'm not going to. I'm 82. Why should I bother growing up?
That's a good answer.
Well, I grew old, but we all do that.
Yes. What did you love to do as a kid before high school?
Oh, climb trees, spit wads at the back of boys' heads, and drive their nuts crazy.
Who were your best friends growing up?
Oh, now that's my favorite subject. I lived on a 2-story apartment building. It was a 4-plex. And I could look down my window and see the courtyard for the apartment house. The owners of the apartment house were immigrant Germans. Well, their oldest daughter and youngest daughter became my best friends. When I grew up and finally came to Spokane to get away from the memories of my family being gone, I ran into the same 2 nuns working at the women's shelter. And these were the women who been my best friends growing up.
Oh, that's wonderful.
So, I mean, it was like, God was giving me like, hey, listen, didn't I tell you I'd work it out? With my help, of course he did.
Did you have a favorite teacher at school?
To annoy or learn? Yes. I got to spend 2 years in a regular boarding school. And my favorite teacher was this very diminutive English teacher. And again, she emphasized words, meanings, pleasures. I mean, you could say something in English and nobody would know what you're even saying because, well, why don't you say that in American, that kind of thing. I loved talking where nobody knew what I was talking about and I was using real words.
What was it about that teacher that you liked?
She was consistent, but I had a speech therapist who was so British that even today I'm often asked, you raise your eyebrows, are you English?
Oh. What did you love to do when you were in high school?
Right.
I can see that.
Yeah. I mean, when I was 12 years old, I submitted a poem to one of those little anthology things. At that time, they were very, very popular, And the best of got in a book and then had to pay for the book, of course. But at the time, to me, it was a real publisher. So I used my daddy's name, or what I thought was my daddy's name. So the next year, they said, well, we've already published you. So I came up with, Mary Ellen or somebody.
So what do you remember most about your mother?
Elise, our charge nurse, is what my mother was when she was younger. Attractive, caring, positive, totally realistic, drives me up the wall. People who are just rooted in reality drive people like me crazy. And yet, in dealing with her, I've been able to deal with so many issues for my mom with the dream in between to just slam the door. Yes, it was ugly. Yes, she had horrible things happen to her. But that's past. We've got to get over it and let go of it.
Yeah. What do you remember most about your father?
Everything wonderful. The man was horribly, horribly selfish and paid a terrible price.
I know your creative life is your favorite part, so what was your favorite piece of art or book or movie?
The one I haven't done yet.
I know, I asked her which picture was her favorite, and she said all of them.
Mm-hmm.
They're all my babies. They're all my. This one I did only because I love the way the wind blew her hair. This one I was in a foul mood and I didn't want to drag all my paints out, so I did pen and ink. This one, the little puppy, it's hard to see from here, but the little puppy said, "Is he still watching?"
Was there a life-changing book or movie or piece of was there a life-changing book or movie or piece of art that you've ever?
Oh, yes, I have a copy of it in I got a print of it that is in here. But you know, oddly enough, it would be Gone with the Wind.
That movie?
Yeah.
Or book, I guess.
Yeah, that well, no, it was more the movie.
The movie?
Because she was so spoiled and so selfish. I wanted to reach up and slap her. But in the movie, Janet Leigh or whoever that lady was, she was marvelous. She captured the Southern Belle, my mother-in-law. But also, in a strange way, To Kill a Mockingbird.
What were some of the happiest moments of your life?
I think my little animals, the first time I held my little animals. Most of my life has been reeling away from something. And yet I look at it and I am so blessed. I met this old Tong master in Chinatown. I've had like 16 different lives, and I knew who I talking to because by what name they called me. But I was trying to be a hippie, doing my best. They were so phony. I had to get out after a couple of weeks. But you know, I mistook them for real. And this old man is in the bottom of the basement with all these other people around him, smoking, you know, his opium pipe and, you know, the beard. But he liked listening to my stories. Fatal flaw. You know, anytime I get away from the weirdos, I know they're telling him my stories. So I find out later that if I had a lick of sense, I never would have walked out of there. He knew I was innocent, so he thoroughly enjoyed me. And when the time came, he said, "Look, you are not a hippie. Get out of here." I said, "You know what? You're right." And that started another cascade.
What 3 words would you say best describe who you tried to be in life and how you want to be remembered?
Oh. Not.
Not.
I've watched too many lives disappear. When the person's gone, poof. That's why I fought doing this video for so long. You know? You'll always be alive if somebody who's alive knows you. Well, they don't last more than 60 or 70 years. I used to go through old gravestones, old graveyards. All the 1800s, it was a line from Hamlet, "Remember me." I'm like, I wish I could, but I never knew anybody who even knew you, who great-grandparent you were.
Yeah.
And it haunted me. It still does. That's why there are so many paintings, because there's so many sides to me. There's so many moods. You come here 10 minutes from now, I'll be different. But that's okay. Unlike you poor folks, I am not rooted in reality. I get to choose mine. Neener, neener, neener!
What are you most proud of in life?
That I affected other people with paintings that encourage others to paint, with stories that encourage other people, that I have seen people who were so down and so disturbed smile by the time I left. That's what I'm proud of. That's what I'm going to take home.
That's a good thing to be proud of.
Yes, everything else is dust.
What brings you the greatest sense of comfort and peace?
Knowing I'm at the end of my journey, and I'm surrounded by people I can tease, I can torment, I can be myself. That's the greatest joy. I don't have to be anything else but the ornery old coot that I want to be at the moment.
Are there any tasks you want to complete before you die?
Yeah, I stopped my beloved Western because that's my comfort zone when I start hurting. And I finished my little guardian angel story. Now I'm coming back and I'm jonesing to finish the little Western. I've got like 4 or 5 pages left to do. I'm just not sure where to take it.
Yeah.
So I've got to get back into it now that I finished that one. And let me say, modestly, that's wonderful. It's a guardian angel, 2 guardian angels, one who appears to be a large gray cat, and one who appears to be an angel fish in a small tank. And I pulled it off, modestly, of course.
What advice would you leave for others?
Don't listen to advice. It's always, what do I think I should say? We're never going to really say what we think.
No. Any other messages you want to leave for people?
Yes, life is worth the fight.